Hi, my name is Adnan Hasbi and welcome to Funny Finance Guy. In today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about building your first asset, specifically building apps. And the format of this episode is I will talk a little bit about my experience building apps, how I monetized, and finally, what I've learned during that particular journey. So to put a background, I started building apps back in 2013. And at that point in time, the smartphone industry was growing very, very rapidly. And amongst the reason why is the Android smartphones were getting cheaper and cheaper, and more people can start to afford buying a smartphone. So I wanted to get in this action. And me being in the financial industry, I wanted to invest in the stocks. And amongst the stock which was on my radar is Google. And at that point in time, it was $200. To put things in perspective, that was relatively expensive when converted back to Malaysian ringgit just to get one stock. And the second alternative was to build an asset. So I decided to build an app. At that point in time, I still remember the main trigger for me to start building an app was this. That's right, guys, it was Flappy Bird. I remembered reading a newspaper article which said the developer for Flappy Bird made about 50,000 US dollars a day. And being here in Malaysia, it's quite a big amount. And after playing that game, I told myself, if someone can make money from a game this simple, why not me? So I started my quest towards developing apps. And what got me motivated was, at that point in time, I love anything and everything to do with technology. At the same time, there was a very strong demand for apps. And finally, I could see that people can actually get paid for creating apps for the market. And if these three were to intersect, that would be a potential. So I worked day and night towards developing an app. And my app prototype looked a bit like this, where there was a picture, a very big picture in the middle, and there was a back button and a front button. And pretty much it is a tutorial on how to wear a head garment, which is called a hijab. At that point in time, there were a lot of YouTube and also blogs showing people how to tie a hijab. But when we look at the smartphone, there was only one app which is being published at that point in time. So looking at the supply and demand dynamics, I knew that there was an opportunity. So if you want to make an app, lesson number one is look at the trends. It doesn't have to be a complicated app, but we have to follow the trends. And if we manage to catch it at the right time, we will be able to make some profit. Generally speaking, there are three business models towards creating apps. The first business model is a freemium business model where we give the app for free. But if a person wants to get more features, he has to pay a bit of money. The second model is the premium business model, whereby before you use the app, you have to pay some money. And the third is free, where we make money out of showing advertising banners on the bottom. So among all three, I chose the third option, which is the free business model. And how I made money was showing third-party advertisements, and in exchange for showing their ads, I will make some money. So this is how the progress of my app development journey started. I think I started somewhere in June or July, where I created random apps. But the apps which did the best was the hijab app. One of the reasons why, as I mentioned, there was very low supply in the app space while there was a big demand for this fashion trend. Needless to say, when I created that particular app, the demand for this app actually shot up really, really high. And it felt like all the major celebration plus my birthday all combined, put together. It felt so wonderful during a normal day. It was so cool to see the number of demands just grew every day when clicking on the Google Play console. And at the same time, it was so cool to start seeing dividends or to start seeing income coming in from this particular app. So that brings me to the next part of the story where you can see a lot of these apps being removed. And the reasons why the app was being removed was I did not update the app as often as possible. I remembered loving the whole process. I remembered people demanding for that particular product, and I remembered getting paid for it. But I was not the best programmer. I was more of an analyst. To make things even more complicated for me was that I had friends working in the financial industry, and at that point in time, I remembered them telling me to invest in stocks as opposed to building apps. Their reasoning was, why spend so much of time? Why go through all the pain? Why go through all the struggles when you can take some money and invest it in stocks that will give you dividends? And eventually what happened was I kind of gave up on that dream. So in today's episode, I just want to tell you guys, if you have a dream, please protect it no matter what. And the second thing I want to say is dreams do come true, and where you can see with enough motivation, enough knowledge, and enough action, you can build your own dream life. There will be ups, there will be downs. There will be friends to tell you not to do certain things. There will be relatives which will also tell you all sorts of things. Being in a society where we are very close-knit, it is very easy to hear what other people have to say. Having said that, only you know what you really want. With that, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope to see you in the next episode.